Hello, my name is Dr. Campbell Price and I'm the Curator of Egypt and Sudan here at Manchester Museum. I'm also the curator of the exhibition behind me, Golden Mummies of Egypt. So if you want to come and follow me, we'll look at some of my personal highlights and reflect on what visitors have made of what's inside. Hello, welcome inside Golden Mummies of Egypt. This exhibition isn't just about pharaohs and pyramids and things maybe people come to expect about ancient Egypt. It's about one particular cultural moment, the Graeco-Roman period. So everyone's heard of the Rosetta Stone. It's an object which proved the key to deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. This is the Manchester equivalent of the Rosetta Stone. And so here we have an image of a man worshipping Egyptian gods. Beneath him is this everyday script on that first line. That's a bit of demotic. Beneath is the same text in hieroglyphic text, and then below there is an object commemorating again someone who had died, but the text is in Greek. And this is really important because it gives a sense of the multicultural expectations for the afterlife and the multicultural reading tastes of the ancient Egyptian gods. So they could read hieroglyphs, the words of the gods, they could read everyday script, and they could read this new script from the Greeks. This is in fact my favourite piece in the whole exhibition of 108 objects. This little piece of glass. It's convex, but it's completely clear, and it was used either like a bullseye lens to focus light and potentially start a fire, or it could be used to read text like a magnifying glass. Now this object is 2,000 years old, discovered at the site of Hawara, and it really gives an insight to the technological capabilities of the people living in Egypt at that time. Who knows, maybe they even had spectacles like ours. What visitors to Golden Mummies of Egypt will notice is this is an exhibition about faces. And often visitors are coming in and recognizing people they know in some of these images. None of the faces, none of the masks, none of these images depict people as they actually were. They are idealized, generic images of people as gods, people who had transitioned, who'd been transformed by the process of mummification into the land of the gods, into the plane of the gods. And so what you see here is just an ideal, perfected version that was meant to exist forever and needn't necessarily have looked like the person looked in life. We know about golden masks, but a lot of visitors don't know that the ancient Egyptians were using painted portraits that very much borrow from a Roman artistic tradition. So this gentleman dates to maybe the 2nd century CE, 2nd century AD. We know almost nothing about these people. The images are probably at best an improvement on reality, and they hardly ever have their names preserved. But in all of these portraits, one of the best collections of these objects outside Cairo in Egypt, we get this sense of familiarity. We think we know the people because they look through the glimpse of light in their eyes like people we might see in the street. They spoke to people like Oscar Wilde when he visited a show of these in the 1890s and probably inspired his novella, The Picture of Dorian Gray. One of the key points I wanted to make as a curator in this exhibition is that the people you're encountering in this space, the people whose belongings we're looking at, were rich people. This kind of treatment after death wasn't the lot of most of the Egyptian population, but here is a really interesting insight into what could happen to the body. Following Greek and Roman traditions, the body could be cremated. So this is a cinerary urn, most likely, that was made to contain ashes. So people opted to have their bodies mummified at great expense, instead, for example, of having the body cremated, as is more common today. The reason the exhibition is called Golden Mummies of Egypt is because at the site of Hawara in Egypt, between around 300 BC and 300 AD, there was a lot of gold being used by wealthy people to decorate the mummified bodies of the dead. This is a prime example. It's a rare example where we can definitively say this was made for a woman because she is wearing ibex-headed earrings and she has her natural hair coming out from under this kind of divine head cover or headdress. The whole idea of gold and gilding in ancient Egypt, very clearly texts state, is to turn the deceased into a god. Gods have bones of iron, hair of lapis lazuli, and flesh, skin made of gold. So by wearing a mask like this after death, this really brought about the divinity of the deceased.